most of the Asian markets are trading lower following a weak handover from Wall Street.
5,500 crore rupees of investment coming in from Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. We are working with a revenue growth of 4.7% in dollar terms on a quarter-on-quarter basis.
Every day you're seeing sector, stock rotation. I think previous day it was TCS. Yesterday it was HDFC. I think one day earlier it was something else. But one large index stock is surging by rotation.
We are getting closer and closer to what we were in the previous year, and in September we have exceeded what we did in the previous year.
So it's about 14 points knocked off from the Nifty and about 60 knocked off from the Sensex.
As lockdown exit has accelerated, then GDP forecasts have started to be less negative.
Next 10 years, healthcare will have double the CAGR it had in the last 10 years.
In the industry, the retails are as strong as the wholesale number.
Key positive for the company is the fact that they've added nearly 14 stores during the quarter.
Got some green, but there is an element of choppiness that's creeping in now as we speak. So just off the highest levels of the day.
It is definitely going to restrict access to global talent, and can be a challenge in terms of.
We are seeing gains of 78 points on Nifty.
Okay, well, once again, the market's got one stock which has been able to support it. In fact, it's Reliance. But more than Reliance, there are a couple of other stocks as well which are sort of supporting the market today. Of course, today we started on the way down because of the US market, but then Donald Trump's second tweet, and then the futures move and the Asian markets, European markets, everything's telling you that the market is firmly buy on dips. And today, of course, you have support from the likes of Titan, all the auto stocks, HDFC Twins having a nice follow through. So all in all, bulls in complete control, though you could argue about the market breadth and the mid-cap side of the market, which is not looking that good. But then that's perhaps something that could be just nitpicking. But purely on the index, it's been a very, very strong follow through today. Surabhi, hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Anuj. Good afternoon. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in 11,000, now 750 and counting. Though, if you look at European indices right now, there's a little bit of red there. So we're actually outperforming if you're comparing us to some of the Western markets. But, of course, a large part of this, of course, is Reliance today, Anuj, as you mentioned. But how should we look at it? This is a market with a changed texture now, would you say?
Yeah, Surabhi, if you're an index trader, I think the only trade left is to buy the dips, and you're making a lot of money. And I think today the market gave you that dip. After initially it looked like market was declining, but then look at that move. But you know what? That for last 3-4 days it's happening that one or two index stocks are sort of holding the index, but in the broader market you're seeing a lot of profit taking. I think today the advanced decline is well in favor of the declines. Mid caps down. So let's see. But if your job as an index trader is to make money, I think that money has been made on the upside. And I think today this big bounce in Reliance clearly has helped sentiment. And this follow through that you've seen on HDFC Twins, I think that's important to see HDFC rally 1.5% after yesterday's big move. HDFC Bank rallying 1.5% after yesterday's big move. I think that's clearly been helpful. And the data is supporting. Look at the auto sales, and after that, the kind of move that we have in auto stocks, the last half an hour has solely belonged to the two-wheeler stocks. So that way, I think the market's getting more and more names to join in, at least at the index level. You could argue about the broader market, but then these things have happened in the past as well.
Okay, well, that's the market for today. Let's see if it's going to pile on more weight and more momentum as we get through this last 1 hour. And here is what's lined up on Closing Bell today. The market has recovered after a slight initial hiccup, and right now it is pretty much at the highs of the session. Plenty of green on the screen today. Morgan Stanley says India's manufacturing sector could triple in the next 10 years. Rhythm Desai tells us why they are not concerned about immediate growth issues in India. That's a big view coming in. Then, of course, we get you a portfolio call with Mihir Vora of Max Life Insurance. He joins in to track the market fundamentals, tells us what they like in the market at the moment. Now, will the second quarter be the bottom for cement prices? Naveen Sahdeo of Edelweiss joins in. Bit of a perk up in cement stocks over the last few days, so we get chatting on that. Now, Titan's second quarter update has been fairly encouraging, but Bajaj Finance's growth concerns are very evident in their commentary and also in the stock price. So we have both of those stocks in focus, and you'll catch the fine print on both today. Vedanta under pressure as it is the last day for investors to tender in the open offer. What should the strategy be going forward? We get you some analysis.
Okay, and of course, the last hour calls coming up now. We have Ashwani and Mitesh joining us for closing strategies. Good afternoon, Ashwani. Very strong follow through after initial hiccups. Now we are up 100 points on the Nifty. In fact, the Bank Nifty up 150 now. Your thoughts on index and your stock calls?
You know, Anuj, I am a man of theories. So I think, you know, with sales getting to pre-COVID levels in things which are underperforming, you know, you had this HDFC numbers, etc., auto numbers. You know, this is the part of the market which was lagging, and this could now, you know, why shouldn't the market be at pre-COVID levels? Pharma, IT already done. The other, you know, consumption-based stories are now moving up. My sense is you will cross not only 11,800 soon, but you will get to 12,000, because market in its wisdom thinks that COVID is history. So I am going by that plan. So I have now long 12,000 calls. Having said that, Ultratech is a buy with a stop of 4,200, target of 4,350. Hero Moto is a buy with a stop of 3,180, target of 3,300. And Pidilite is a buy with a stop of 1,480, target of 1,560.
All right, those are Ashwini's stocks the last 1 hour. Mitesh, good afternoon. So it's been really a bull charge of sorts in the last couple of days, right? The question is, for the last hour, can you still make more money on the index? What's the call there? And then what about stocks?
Yeah. See, I think on the index, you know, I think I was looking at 11,750 and we are still overbought, but I think there's no sign of weaknesses yet. The only way to possibly trade this out is that you trail your stop losses very tight, and the current recommendation would be 11,700. So just 60 points to give away in case there's some kind of reversal happening. But maintain long bias because the market is still showing signs of an uptrend. So I think that remains. Having said that, the calls that I have right now, I have a buy on Ambuja with a stop at 231.5 for targets of 245, and Bajaj Auto, I think that's already moved up, but around 30, 75, 80. Buy with a stop at 30.44 for targets of 31.50.
Okay, that's some technical calls. Let's now address stock of the day. And Nimesh has been on top of this story. Vedanta is under pressure. Today is the last day for investors to buy if you want to buy purely for the purpose of tendering in the delisting offer. But there's been a smart recovery from the low point as well. Nimesh, tell us what exactly is going on.
Hi, Rich. As you rightly pointed out, you know, technically today is the last day for investors who want to participate in the tender offer to buy and then tender on Friday, which is the last day of the delisting offer closing. So that's the technical aspect of it. But if you look at it, even yesterday we did caution the investors that especially the FN investors should be very careful and convert into cash, because the stock is an FNO band, so you can't short or hedge your position in the futures market. And the only way to play this is, if you can convert into cash and then tender in the delisting offer. So that's the technical aspect. If you look at today's trading sessions, close to 6 crore shares, at least in half an hour back, close to 6 crore shares were traded, of which 50% was marked for delivery. So there is some bit of technical adjustments which are happening in that particular stock. If you look at the delisting process, which is live on the exchanges, close to 15 crore shares has been tendered in the delisting process so far, and out of which close to 11 crore shares is priced around 104 or up to rupees 140 rupees per share. So the remaining shares are at a way higher price. That's nothing to count for. But for the delisting to be successful, 134 crore shares need to be tendered, which means at least a promoter need to buy 134 crore shares to reach the 90% mark, which can lead to a successful delisting. What is more critical in case of Vedanta is clearly that the institutional holding is quite high and is at 34%. Out of that 34%, close to 7%, 6.5% stake is owned by Reliance, is owned by LIC, and that they will be a crucial for the delisting to whether it will be successful or not. The reason is, at what price LIC will tender is a big question mark. What I do understand from sources, the LIC's internal meeting is happening tomorrow, after which on the last day probably they will tender their shares. So we don't know at what price they will tender. So that's a gray area, and that can be a big determinant as to at what price whether the delisting is successful or not. So that's a big question mark. As I said earlier as well, the amount that has been raised by the promoters it do indicate that up to 150, 160, maybe the promoters are comfortable. But if all the larger institutions tend at a higher price, then the delisting can fail. So right now what is happening is because of technical factors and on very low delivery volumes, the stock got hammered today. But if the investor is looking to tender in the delisting process, then probably today is the last day to buy and then wait for Friday to tender after watching as to what the larger institutions do.
Okay, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. Now what all of this gets muddled